How's it going, everybody? Welcome. Whoops, my phone just played a good song. Oh,
Hey,
Your playlist.
sharing that. Now we all know.
Hey,
Now we know.
well, welcome. It's good to see that everyone survived the storm, and everyone survived the storm, both the snow and then whatever storm was last night that you might have attended. It was very green. St. Patty's Day. And could you imagine if you got to be Paris on your birthday? Wouldn't that be a great place to be? Paris? And she's got her own area. Happy birthday, Paris.
Happy birthday.
I'm fairly certain she took a shower today too.
Well, you said everybody always comes to this.
Yeah, they do. Yep, they do. She's a pioneer, so she's over there. We did put a little nameplate for you, so you would know where to go on that side.
Well, there's a nameplate over there, but I'm gonna come join.
Paris.
So sweet.
I put them in both spots because she said back right corner and I didn't know which right.
Well, I just thought we would have standing room only for this team meeting, and I was worried about getting up here on time, but we are gonna still have some people trickle in, so there you have it.
We'll have some tumblers,
I'm over here.
and we have people on break right now too. So good that they're taking advantage of that opportunity. And we have people on Zoom. Hello, Zoomers. So good to see you out there. And because last night, first of all, Maria was able to get a great cereal bar for us all this month. And she also had the foresight to know that St. Patty's Day was last night. So she came up with this for you as well. So it's Unlucky Harms. The O Hangover cereal, and the main ingredient is acetaminophen. So go ahead and help yourself in the kitchen. If you're sitting there going like this from last night, or just because of the dad jokes, go ahead and grab some acetaminophen. All right. Well, we couldn't be more excited. As you know, each week we bring a piece of family reunion to you that we can apply. And then Olivia says, hey, how about we bring family reunion literally to us? So we're excited about that we have Chad here today. It's such an inspirational story, and we are in the perspective business. We're in the perspective of helping our clients have the right perspective of things, and our business having the right perspective of things, and of course, ourselves in our heart and mind. And she showed us last week, Chad, that Olivia is so inspired by your mustache that this is her next haircut.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's a new trend. It's a new trend. So thank you for that, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, well, let's give it up for our Play of the Week, Amber Seaver. Amber Seaver was nominated Play of the Week because she introduced some great people to Sicily that are people who are definitely a culture fit here with this amazing group of people, that a culture that Amber has helped build very well, and her heart and soul is a great representation of who we are here. Also, she was on the panel last week for Agent Plus, and she did an amazing job. And I love how she was able to articulate how she balances having a great lender partner as well as earning money on the other end of it when it comes to mortgages. So let's give it up once again for Amber Seaver. Many of you, I think all of you, received an email that says lots of things about this stuff, which is the Zillow affiliation that we have. And since the bulk of this came out yesterday, we felt it would be not appropriate for us to do this today and do this next week, where we can talk more in depth and share much more information, because we need to digest this too. What I do know is what a blessing it is to be with a company that's at the forefront of everything. Having a leader like Gary who's at the forefront of everything. Not only this, but as we know, there's lots and lots of litigations and such that are always happening behind the scenes, and there's a lot going on here. And I do know this, I'm glad to be with this mothership who is going to be ahead of all those. So thank you for your patience on this, and it's gonna be a win-win, I'll tell you that, it's exciting. And Jason, what's this for?
Well, we all want to know what's coming up next. So if you want to know what's coming up next, right on your table, you can use the QR code. You can beep, you can go beep, you can go beep, beep, all over the place. You can turn around and do the beep behind you, but in any case, you are going to know what's in the know. And as Toddy would say, you can even bookmark that when you go there, so you can check it at any time and it will update automatically. When you bookmark it, it will not tell you what happened in the past. It will tell you what is coming in the future. And that's what we all want to know. We all want to know the future, and not all of us have a crystal ball. So with that in mind, beep away.
Yes, the interesting thing is the agents that you see here that have been here for a long time that are super steady and have an amazing business. You'll see them attending many of these things and building on their models and systems that we have here. It's easy to chase the shiny thing. However, this is where you go. And this is one thing I'd like to make sure that we have the opportunity. It's the last opportunity it's going to be. Jared's doing me a favor for doing this. If you did this for a day and a half at a main corporation, it'd be $10,000. He's doing it for nothing, so to speak, but a little stipend that we decided we're going to give him. This affects everything you do communication-wise, social media, and really in your personal life. So I can't push this enough. And for those of you who got a little bit nervous that maybe he's going to make examples of us in front of the room, because he did say he wanted to do that. For the people who aren't quite that far in the communication, and if that makes them too nervous, you still come. It's going to benefit you. He just won't make you do that. That's not good. Jason would have a hard time doing that.
I would not be good in that environment. No, that would be terrible.
Well, here we go. Let's all be thunderstruck.
All right, so over the last several team meetings, I've been talking about non-qualified mortgages, non-QM, FHA, VA, conventional, they're all qualified mortgages. These are more specialty mortgages, but we have various types of customers, different kinds of incomes, and these are ways to possibly get some of our customers into homes that maybe the standard formats won't allow for. All right, I've talked about bank statement loans, DSCR loans, 1099 loans, where most of these programs we're not using tax returns, we're just using the 1099 to qualify their income to qualify to purchase. Today I want to talk about, let's see here. All right. I'm going to talk about asset loans. So customers have maybe have a solid amount of assets, but they don't have verifiable income on their tax return as self-employed or W-2 or 1099. They can't show that, but they have a good amount of assets. All right, and so this is going to allow us to have a borrower present their assets, and then we're going to use those assets typically to buy between 5 years and 7 years, 60 months or 84 months, to determine their income. All right, who can that benefit? Again, somebody who is retired. They've got 401k assets, but really maybe a Social Security. That's not enough to qualify for what they want to do. Or people who are high income, don't want it, but can't show taxes, and they have high assets, but they don't want to burn, hey, it's a 500 grand house, but they don't want to burn that 500 grand of their assets for that house. We can use those assets as income and maybe only put 20% down instead of the full amount. Okay, so what assets are eligible? Well, checking and savings, liquid assets, we can use 100% of that. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, we can use 70 to 80%. Those figures can fluctuate, but we can use a high percentage of those funds. Retirement assets, if you're at least 59 and a half, we can use 70 to even 100% of those assets. And now we're going to divide by 5 years or divide by 6 or 7 years to qualify. Okay, so again, who does it work for? Retirement, people and retirees, or investors who have a lot of assets but don't want to use all those assets towards purchase. No tax returns are required. And again, it's a way for them to leverage, instead of buying a property outright, they can leverage their assets to put less down to purchase property. Some quick ways to, how do we calculate that? All right, so an example, somebody's got a 1.2 million in liquid assets, savings, checking, money market. The two various programs are 60-month and 84-month, 5-year and 7 years. So we're just taking that asset, we can use 100% of cash, 100% of it, so we're just dividing that asset divided by 5 years or 60 months. We're using $20,000 as their income, qualify on a new purchase. Stocks, bonds, we can only use 70%. In this example, an 84-month term, they've got $1.6 million in assets. Stocks, bonds, we take 70% of that, divide it by 84, we're using 13,000 as their income to use towards qualifying to purchase. All right. And lastly, there is a program where we can actually use a 3% factor on those assets to increase that asset over time to qualify. But really, it's another way for us to find a customer who doesn't have the traditional income that can help us buy. Right, and I know we're scrambling here for time, so I'm going to wrap it up at our next team meeting, kind of put a bow around the non-QM programs, and we'll grind through some questions then.
Can they ask you questions?
Or at lunch. Or I'm right around the corner, or you can shoot me an email.
Awesome.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. These gentlemen, you bet. Thunderstruck. And really, we'll let the video introduce.
Hard to
Come on up, Chad.
Hard to follow AC/DC, brother.
We'll just let him do his thing.
Well, my name is Chad Stock.
For medical reasons.
A second. I just want to say how thankful I am to be here in Minnesota. I actually lived here for 5 years in the early 90s, and so excited to get back here. It's been such a blessing to meet everybody the last 2 days, even Jamie.
Yeah.
I didn't know, you transported me yesterday, I was like, I'm here. So I'm going to share the Mary miracle with you, the accident that happened to me on Easter. Be 2 years, and then this month, actually. I also have a little town called Marion, Montana. About 60 miles south of Canada, about 60 miles east of Idaho, an hour and a half from town. So I'm going to play the video here for you, and then we'll jump into it from there.
Reason at all, I should be alive today. And I know 2,000% that God saved me. Nobody's gonna tell me anything different. My name's Chad Stock. I live in Whitefish, Montana. I was born in Northeast Iowa. I had a troubled childhood full of sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, which led to some pretty troubled years. I was raised United Church of Christ. Didn't really fully get into the faith really until my 30s. Went through a divorce about 4.5, 5 years ago, and sold my house, sold my business in Kansas City, and that's what's brought me to Montana. Easter morning, March 31st, 2024, I wake up in an empty house. I was way behind on work because I took some time off with my kids the week before, and I was building a remote-ish cabin. I was working on a table saw. I was ripping some thicker materials, so I had my blade up like 2.5 inches. And I lost respect for that saw, and it grabbed me, pulled me right in, and cut me from here to there in an instant. I was in serious trouble. The amount of pain that jolts your body is hard to explain. I ended up cutting over 1 inch out of my artery, and I am losing a large amount of blood very quickly. And I'm like, I need help right now. It's Easter Sunday. It's 6:30 at night. Nobody's coming. The owner employers live out of state. There's nobody that stays out here at the lake that time of year. Most people do this during the summer, and there's no cell coverage out there. I remember leaving the cabin, heading to my truck, and the door was locked. And it dawned on me that my keys and my phone were in my hoodie, 16 feet up on 2 tiers of scaffolding inside the cabin. That was a sickening feeling. You start thinking about your life, regrets, and things you would have done different. People you wish you could talk to. Thought about my kids and how horrible it would be to leave them on Easter. So I got up, and I remember looking up at the top of that scaffolding. The hood of my hoodie was just hanging over the top. Thought, there's no way I can climb the scaffolding. And how am I going to get those keys? Well, the Lord put a green ladder right there. And I remember setting the ladder up. I remember this weird feeling come over my body. That's when I went into shock the first time. I wake up on the ground, and it's darker in the cabin now. A lot of pain sets back in. It dawns on me. I can get to my iPad, I can get out on Wi-Fi. I was struggling with trying to get it on, and I realized my battery was dead. I've had some lonely times in my life, but when you feel like God is not even showing up, that's a lonely feeling. And I am like, I am freaking fighting, man. Give me something, you know? I started having that feeling again, and went into shock a second time. When I woke up, it was black. And I was like, am I dead? Then the pain set back in, and I was fully aware I was not dead. I remember laying there, and I'm like, I'm at my limit, man. 4 hours in this, God, either take me away or take this away. One or the other. Like, show me you're with me. I cannot explain it to anyone. It was so spiritual. God gave me peace and took my pain. I mean, I had complete comfort. I felt God with me. It was just like, especially when you feel so alone, you're so alone, God's not even showing up, and realizing that God's with you the whole time. My whole life has been, I got this. I got this. I got this. Me and God, we have this. I'm going to get out of here. I'm not going to lay here and die. I was able to make it up the ladder. I was able to get my level into the hoodie and pull it off. I'm going to tell you what, man, the sound of those keys and phone hitting that concrete, whoosh, that is the sound I'll never forget. Grab my keys or grab my phone, make it to my truck. I finally get into cell coverage, so I call the ER, and Autumn was the nurse there. She's like, stop the ER, we'll come get you. And at this point, I'm like, no. First of all, I'll be 2/3 of the way there before you get to me. And me and God, we already have an hour into this. We're going to finish the last 30 minutes. By the time I get to the hospital, it'll be 5.5 hours since I cut myself. And made it to the ER. That's where I met Dr. Scott Rogers.
In regards to the whole situation, I mean, Chad is a miracle. He probably should have died out there. He lost enough blood that he was passing out, and that happens when you lose about 20% of your blood volume. If you lose up to 40% of your blood volume, you die, essentially. Because I would say 99.9% of the population, much worse outcome, either they're staying there and die there, not to mention hypothermia because it was a cold night, right? The bleeding, the driving, you know, he could have easily driven off the road or had any number of things. So each portion of that is a miracle in itself, but in totality, it's a true miracle.
And God saved me for a reason. Until God be saved me, I would glorify Him and share my testimony. I want to reach people out there that I don't care where you're at in your life. This has been transformation through trauma for me, physically. But we all have trauma, emotionally. Worse yet, spiritually. We've got to be able to keep moving forward. And people talk about how traumatic the situation was, and it was, but to me, it's been such a blessing in disguise. For example, my kids were raised in a Christian home, but we didn't force it on them. That's a personal decision they need to make. My son made that decision. My daughter, since my accident and seeing how God saved me and everything he's done in my life. She's given her life to Christ. I'd gladly give my hand up again. For that. So if you don't have a relationship with Christ, you better rethink do that. All the time, so this time is ticking. I got a huge snooze on my. I'm not gonna waste the opportunity that God's given me.
Would you guys like to hear the rest of the story?
Thank you, brother. Asking a little grace this morning. Since my accident, one of the complications from it is nerve pain. And some days are mild, some are like licking an outlet. And I stopped taking my medication 2 to 3 days before I talk because it's such a high dose. It makes me groggy, and you guys deserve me on all cylinders. So if you see me, I don't have a nervous tick. Just gotta bear with me, okay? Couple main focuses of my talk is that every person in here, you have more strength in you than what you believe. I know I get asked about my accident quite a bit. Prior to going through my accident, I don't know if I could have survived it. I was able to dig deep and rely on God to get me through that. Yeah. In your life, even in the darkest moments of your life, you can find purpose. Everyone here has a purpose in their life. Wow, maybe that was something. Maybe that was something. That's a wrap. You guys don't get to hear it.
That was a start right.
You guys see that okay? Yeah. There's all my contact information, of course. If you enjoy my talk and get something out of it, I encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I was so blessed to be at the reunion. Who all here went to the reunion in Atlanta? Awesome. Everybody who's not gone, go. It was so educational and so powerful for me, and I've been so blessed to meet that lady in the back there. I love you. And a blessing in my life for sure. You know, it's easy in life to find peace, joy, love, and hope when things are going great, right? So when things are not going so great in your life, that's where you gotta rely on your faith. And you will hear me talk about God today because I can't tell my story without God. I do hope that if there are Christians in here that, you know, it does help strengthen your relationship with Christ. I'm not here to baptize anybody. I'll tell you that. If you're not a Christian, I hope it opens your eyes to what your life could be with Christ. It's been, let's see. There we go. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. You got to set challenges in life. Life's a challenge. Every day, life's a challenge. And this is certainly a challenge for me. At 6:30 at night, Sunday, Easter of all days, wham, I get tangled up in the table saw. I lost respect for just a second. I had a custom cabinet shop for 20 years. My dad was a builder. I've been around table saws my whole life. I lost respect for just 1 second, and I was in serious trouble. I played rugby at a high level. I wrestled my life in Iowa all the way through high school football. Is there anybody here from Iowa? I'm worried it's gonna be a rough crowd. Wrestling gave me so much drive out of my life. It's unbelievable. If you have a child out there, and I'd love to see how far women's wrestling has come, highly encourage it. Dan Gable had a quote: "Once you've wrestled in life, everything else is easy." And I've used that through my whole life. Wham! I get into the saw, and I've been hard on my body. I've had 3 hip surgeries, knee surgeries, elbow. I've had a lot of surgeries in my life. This was a pain that was it humbles you. Sorry, it still takes me back. Stepped back from the saw, and I knew I am in serious trouble. I mean, I am pulsating blood. I took an inch out of my artery. All my lower tendons are gone. Muscle in my forearm. I know I am in trouble and I need help right now because nobody's coming. It's Easter Sunday, 6:30 at night, Amazon and I come in, always delivering eggs. It's a very lonely feeling. For whatever reason, and I talk about it, I started a podcast called We've Got This, Raising Up Your Fellow Man. Talks about trauma in your life. But we all think how we're going to react in a traumatic situation. To me, it really comes down to mechanics that you have. Being sound mentally, physically, and spiritually. I believe a person that has spiritual guidance in their life is a much more prepared person. And I couldn't have got through this without all three of those. They turned the heaters off, which was a struggle. Looking back, the heaters would have ran out of fuel. It would have been just fine. But when you're in a traumatic situation, I thought, if I don't shut these heaters off. There's 45 degrees outside. At that time of year, I thought, I'll burn this cabin down in that building. Struggling to get the heaters off because I was still trying to use my right hand to get the propane heaters off. Got them off. I got to get out of here. I need help right now. I mean, I've hunted and fished, trapped my whole life. I know the amount of blood I'm losing. It's not good. Make a beeline for my truck. That's when I get to my truck and realize that my keys and phone are 16 feet up on scaffolding inside. And slid down my butt. And I had 2 conversations with Dad. That's all I can get for 2. I had 2 conversations with God that day. That's a private one that stays between me and God, but as you're sitting there, I'm watching my heartbeat. And I don't want to be graphic, but it doesn't take long, and there is about a 30-inch circle of blood that I'm pumping out. So much, when I'm on the driveway, it actually goes down to the front of their house. I'm worried I'm going to bleed out all the way down to their house. And wrestling came back to me, and I was like, one more practice, one more drill. Got to get up. If I don't get up and get moving, I'm going to bleed out right here. And a lot of things go through your mind in a situation like that. Regrets in my life. People I wish I could talk to. People wish I could apologize to. Things I would have done different in my life. It's a very, I was having a very intimate conversation with God. And I was like, the biggest thing that kept coming back to me is my kids. You'll find out about me. I don't quit. I don't quit. I fail at times in my life. That's different than quitting. Failing when you've tried every avenue to accomplish what you're trying to get accomplished. Then in life, maybe you got to take a left turn. Maybe that's not for you, but you don't quit. You don't just give up. So I was like, my kids just kept coming back to me. I don't want my kids to think I just laid here and gave up. So I got up and I thought, my kids are going to know I fought to the end. At every step, to the last crawl, they're going to know I just didn't sit there and give up. This is showing, it's not too graphic here, but just showing you the gravity of the situation that I was in. This is after day 1, 4 hours of just cleaning. This throughout the accident ended up on the floor, and there's dry dirt, dust on there. I mean, it was just horrendous just to get the thing cleaned up. 8 incisions in my leg to just try to retrieve nerves, to try to repair my arm. The whole time I thought, what am I fighting for? For me, it was for my family. And what are you fighting for in your life? What do you have out there that you would fight for? And I thought, no matter what, my kids are going to know I fought to the end. When I get back into the cabin, I realized there's no way I can climb that scaffolding with one arm. There had to be a ladder sitting right there. And I got an 8-foot level. I thought, boy, if I can get up there and catch the hood of my hoodie was just hanging over. But if I can pull that thing off, that's how I'm gonna get out of here. But as I'm going up the ladder, I realized I have this weird sensation going over my body. I'd never gone into shock before. I never looked it up. But I woke up, as I was going up the ladder, I went into shock, fell off. I woke up on cold, wet concrete, approximately an hour later. There's a lot of time that was lost in here. When my face hurt so bad because I fell and I broke a tooth in 2 places on the concrete. And as I'm laying there, I'm just like, I got to keep moving. I can't just lay here. I got to get up. I got to keep moving. And that's why when you get in life, you got to keep moving forward. Things will come at you in life. And like in wrestling, you step sideways and shuck it on by. Never take a step backwards, always moving forward. As I'm laying there the first time I go into shock, I'm like, iPad. Because I'm 30 minutes. There's bad cell reception, and then there's Montana. Bad. We're better off sending a pigeon. And I'm like, I'm 30 minutes from even remote cell coverage. I thought, if I get my iPad, that's how I'm getting out of here. Messenger, call, somehow that's my saving grace. I'm gonna get out of here. Get up. I don't remember looking for my iPad. I think it was on the scaffolding. I'm struggling through it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? My battery's dead. And at that time, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm approximately 3 hours into this, and my battery's dead. That was a lonely feeling, I'm telling you. That's lonely feelings in life. Like I talked about, when you feel like God's not even showing up. I'm like, I'm fighting like a mofo, man. Like, show up. Send somebody down the road with eggs. Somebody. It's not coming. I get the feeling again. Now I know I'm going to shock again. And that was a uneasy feeling, because I know the amount of blood I've lost, and odds of me surviving this are not good. I go into shock. I wake up, it is pitch black. It's 10:30 at night. 4 hours after I cut myself. And I woke up and cold concrete again. It's pitch black. My good buddy says it is as dark as inside a cow. It's black. Right? And I'm like, for just, I don't know if it was 5 seconds or 30 seconds, but as a Christian, I was like, are you kidding me? This is heaven? Like, cold, wet, concrete, dark floor? Come on, bro. But then it hit me, well, at least I'm not on fire. Maybe I'm doing something right. Then pain sets back in, and I'm fully aware of that I'm not dead. That was the plea to God. 4 hours into this, and I am done. I am done. The pain is unbelievable, and I asked God, I plead, either take me away or take the pain away, one or the other, because enough is enough. And I cannot explain it to you. I can't. It was so spiritual. I just had this feeling come over my body, and I had complete comfort. I mean, I wasn't going to go play pickleball, but I was like, I got this. Like, I had such a peace come over me. I can't even explain it. I got up, got that level, pulled that hoodie off. Those keys and phone hit that concrete. It's still a noise that gets to me to this day when I hear that. That's the sound I'll never forget. I'm going to get out of here. Now, I'm still an hour and a half from town. And made it to my truck. Of course, I have a dial shifter at that time. That was a struggle. I'm like, God, why do I have to be right-handed? Get out, and I start heading to town. And, you know, there's so many things that would have and could have done, but I know I had God with me. I mean, I was 5 miles from the next road that even had any traffic on it. And some buddies, they run a rock quarry. I thought they'll find me about 5 in the morning if I live that long. But I had God, such peace with me, like God is sitting right with me. Made it back to Highway 2, made it to town. I tell you how much comfort I had when I finally got into cell coverage. I called my son, who they just went back to Kansas City. And I told him, hey, I got a saw and I'm heading to the hospital. He's like, okay, you'll be fine. You know, I mean, there's no urgency in my voice at all. Which, if you listen to the podcast, the first 2 episodes of the podcast are everything that happens in the accident. Because I can only go over so much here today. There was months that I never told anybody what happened during the 6.5. It ended up being 6.5 hours until I got into surgery. That I flew my daughter out to Kansas City on Father's Day. We sat down and I told them everything that had happened. If you get a chance to listen to it, I recommend it. It is emotional. It's the first time I ever talked about it. And episode 3 is why I know God saved me. If you get a chance to check it out. But during in that podcast, Michelle, my girlfriend, was talking. She's in Salt Lake City at the time, 10 hours away. And I call her and I was like, how's your evening? She goes, Oh, it's good. We had family dinner, and did this, or watched movies. Oh, that's good. That's great. You know, I said, do you mind sitting down for a minute? And she didn't sit down. And she's like, what's going on? I said, I got in a table saw. So I cut my arm off when I saw it. And she was struggling with the gravity of the situation, but the calmness of my voice. It was no different than me talking to you here now today. But I had God with me. Then she's like, you know, call the ER, of course. So I called, finally get a chance to call the ER and had that conversation. At that time, I'm an hour into the drive. And I just knew I had God with me. And got into the ER and saving grace to be there and meet Dr. Scott Rogers, has become a really good friend of mine. In fact, the calmness that I had to stop and get gas. Kid you not. Kid you not. I actually have a picture of me at the gas station because the gas stations aren't even open that time of night. Everything else are closed at 8 o'clock. I'm like, after all this, I gotta stop and get gas. But I did it. I kept moving forward. Mark 5:36 is what got me through my accident and every day since then. So when Jesus says, do not fear, only believe. And I did. I believed I was going to survive this. Think about life is, if you have a negative mindset, you will never have a positive outcome. That's a fact. If I would have laid there in my truck and just been like, well, that's it. I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to quit. I wouldn't be here today. You got to keep a positive mindset in everything you're doing in life. In fact, one of the things I learned from the reunion, which has even helped me at night, you've had a hard day. Don't focus on all the negative stuff. Oh, this went wrong, lost his listing, blah, blah, blah. Because guess what? You're going to wake up in a negative mood. Focus on the things that went right that day. You'll be amazed how much better you will sleep. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. We want you guys to focus on that. We all have changes and challenges in our life. You don't have to start with this huge challenge that's an atomic bomb. If you get to know me, I hate to lose. I hate to lose. My girlfriend and I were driving home from the restaurant. I'll beat her home. Like, I'll carry more groceries. I hate to lose. But you want to start with small challenges. Win some small battles. One that gives you more confidence. You can do this. Challenge for me, it was a year in recovery, 5 surgeries. And by gosh, I wanted a tuna fish sandwich. And Michelle was at work that day. And I'm like, that was my challenge. We did not have electric can opener. We do now. I'm like, I am going to get into that can of tuna with a zip tie. That didn't work. I had electrical tape. If you leave an old stubborn carpenter alone too long, I'm going to find a way into that tuna sandwich. Best tuna sandwich I ever had. Start with the small things and work up to the bigger things. Okay. Failing is acceptable. You will fail at life. Life's hard sometimes. Crying is acceptable. Pain is acceptable. Working your butt off, that's acceptable. Quitting is not acceptable. Every action you take is a vote for the person you are going to become. I want you guys to focus on that. Everything you do, every action you do in life is going to affect the person you will become. Because the life you're living today is a direct result of the decisions you made yesterday, a week ago, 5 years ago. The life you're going to be living 5 years from today are a direct result of the decisions you make today. Trust me, after my accident, everything in my life has run through one filter. Am I the man I need to be for my family? It's affected my business, my choices in life, how I treat people. It's affected me, it will affect me for the rest of my life. Today is both the result of your past choices and the cause of everything to come next. So what does that make today? Very important. You've got to focus on how blessed you are to be here, even when things aren't going your way. Focus on your environment, who you are around. You are a product of your environment. I remember I did not have a blessed wasn't blessed with great biological parents, but I was blessed with an amazing extended family growing up. One of those was my grandpa. And I was, rough childhood. I'm hanging out with kids I shouldn't hang around with. He sat me down one day, and he's like, listen, if you want to be a thief, go hang around a bunch of thieves. But if you want to be a great man, surround yourself with men that you want to inspire to be. Obviously goes for women as well. Surround yourself with people you inspire to be. That will give you motivation. You are a product of your environment. I know for me, I did not go through this alone. Obviously, I had God with me. But all the people in my life prior to that got me through this. I've been mentored by amazing people. In fact, who in here, show of hands, has ever been mentored in life? Business, you name it, right? Keep your hands up. How many of those same hands, honestly, are mentoring somebody else right now? Okay? Think about that. You got to pay it forward. People have blessed you in your life. You be a blessing to somebody else's life. Does that make sense? It's important in choosing your right team. I always go back to sports. It was a huge impact in my life. Every sport has a captain. Some of you are inspiring to. My captain is Jesus Christ. Everybody else falls under that. You want to make sure you surround your people with the right people and you have the right captain leading your team in life and business. Okay. Again, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. This has been a challenge. I was right-handed. You imagine me brushing my teeth the first time? I went through half a tube of toothpaste. I just squirted my dang mouth. Shaving, hence the beard. It's awkward. I get more compliments from men than I do women. It makes me feel weird.
Looks great, man.
Can't tie my shoes. I had to get rid of. Anybody graduate in the early '90s? High school. Had to get rid of my butterfly jeans. That was a struggle. It's a multitude of things. I've lost 80% of the usability in my right hand. I have what's called an ape grip, so I can't close my hand. I have no feeling in the fingers. In fact, when Dr. Rogers came in and talked to me, because you got to face realities in life, right? You can't change it. He's like, you're going to lose 75 to 80% of the usability of your hand. My response, I'm going to show you what I can do with the 20% I do have. Right? It could have been poor me. What am I going to do now? I used it to my advantage. For example, this is not a disability to me. Here, shake my hand, brother. Right? Awkward handshake? Yeah. Right? Do you know about Jesus, brother? I mean, it's an awkward handshake. I use that to my advantage. Hey, you want to buy some real estate? You got something you want to sell? So I don't look at it as a disadvantage. It gives me an edge. Okay. Another challenge I've chosen to accept in my life, the day after my accident, the morning of, which is crazy. I talked about this at the reunion. My girlfriend drove up all night, 10 hours from Salt Lake City. Of course, I didn't know any of that. And the first thing I remember in the morning, this light was coming through, and she's beautiful blonde. And I see her there, and it was like she looked like an angel. I couldn't believe she was there. And the drugs were good, don't get me wrong. But I felt like Matthew McConaughey in some rom-com. I'm like, this is great. This is great. Amazing woman. She's been by my side every step of the way since then. But I sat there in that bed, and I'm like, two things ran across my mind. One, this is not going to beat me. Number two, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the TV show Alone on the History Channel. Actually applied back in 2017 as one of my going through hip surgeries, didn't apply, wasn't going to work. I hounded them. I had almost a year of recovery. I called them for 2 days straight. And their casting call was closed. I'm like, I don't care. I'll find an attorney. And then I found a PR lady. And got connected. Well, I'm at the second level of interviewing process to try and make the show. If you're not familiar with the show, it's basically the Olympics of outdoor survival. You got 10 items, 10 people. Usually it's an Arctic climate. Whoever survives longest wins. But they've never had anybody on a show, on a season that's had a physical limb disability. I mean, I've had to learn to tie fishing knots with my mouth and hand. I want to get out there and be able to show that you can do this even with a disability. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm a long ways from making the show yet, but I'm definitely working my way up the chain. Thank you. This is Tom and Nancy Orr from the Mountain Men series, if you guys have ever seen that. Great, great people. They don't live that far from me, actually. They were able to connect me with Carrie Lee, who was runner-up on season 9 on Alone, becoming a very dear friend of mine. On her season, she made homemade snowshoes. One of the areas I'm weak in is bushcrafting, hunting, fishing, trapping, shelter building, no problem. But bushcrafting, I've not been that great at. So I actually made snowshoes out of alder. And I didn't do this on purpose, but it is my Minnesota hoodie on right there. And don't look at the knots too much, because it's hard to time with my mouth. But I got it done. It was a challenge, right? What are some of people's greatest fear? Is that other people will see them as they see themselves. You're the only one that lives inside that head and that heart. Make sure you're a person that you're proud of. Make sense? This is a big one for me. Success versus value. Show of hands, don't be bashful here. Who's doing well right now? Whose business is going good, right? Successful, great. Who doesn't want to be successful, right? It's so much more important to be a person of value over a successful checkbook. Be of value to those people around you. My dad passed away 3 years ago, the 1st of March in Iowa. 3 hours, people stood outside for a visitation just to get a chance to pay respects. We don't come from money. My dad was not a wealthy person at all, but he was always there. If you needed something, you knew to call my dad. He would be there. The line was so long, the pastor was like, we got to start pulling family out of the line, because we're never going to get this off. There's a man who lived a great life, right? You don't ever see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. You're going out of this world the same way you came in. Focus on being a person of value. It's so much more important. If your ego is wrapped up in your checkbook and that $80,000 rig sitting in the driveway and your subdivision embroidered on your hat, maybe just rethink some of your priorities, okay? Be a person of value. KW Cares. Anybody here not know what KW Cares is? Good. I hope all of you are donating to KW Cares. I was so blessed with an opportunity to receive a grant. Let this soak in. Did not have medical insurance. My rent and Whitefish is $3,300 a month. Stupid, yes. 1.1 million in medical debt. You want to talk about broke? B-R-O-K, could not afford to eat. I mean, when you're rinsing out Dixie cups, you might be broke. Liquidated all my assets, trucks, trailers full of tools, Harley, that was painful. Guns, but in reality, it's all crap. It's all stuff. You need to focus in life on the needs and not the wants. Because none of that stuff made me who I am. I mean, we're living in a camper, Northwest Montana. I told my girlfriend, at least we're not in a van down by the river. It always could be worse. You gotta focus on what's important in your life. I would encourage you all to donate to KW Cares. Most times you don't see where that money goes. It came right here. It was a huge blessing to us. And why I love KW so much, faith, family, business. I walked in my office one day at our market center, in Kalispell, Montana. $500 in cash in an envelope on my desk. I went through my change jar that morning to get enough gas to get to the office. What a blessing that was to me. Thank you. It's super important. I had people from KW bring us meals. I mean, it's just such an amazing company. Especially if you're new to real estate here, at some point you'll try to be recruited, right? And I had a guy come through and do an open house, and I had everything. Banners, flags, everything but a petting zoo. Everything. And he tried to, I didn't know at the time, but he tried to recruit me, and I was like, that's adorable. You're so cute. No, I'm not, I didn't say that. But I'm very happy with KW. I couldn't imagine working for a better company. Getting a little closer on time, because I go down the rabbit hole. You'd like to open up for any Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? Shoot.
So,
There's two questions that get asked all the time. Let's see who gets it first.
okay, oh, well, first of all, it was great having you in Bible study today. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
Gotcha.
It was fantastic. I just want to know, Chad, where do you put this incident in your life? The greatest thing that ever happened to me, the least significant thing that ever happened to me, somewhere in the middle. Where do you put that now that you are here? How do you view that? Where do you?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question. At the top, for sure. I had 4 people yesterday, from talks yesterday, Zoom and meeting, 4 people yesterday reached out to me about Christ. Are you kidding me? Did I get a chance to share what God has done in my life? This has been such a blessing in disguise. I mean, it'll be 2 years into this month, and here I am in Minnesota. It's been one of the worst things that ever happened to me. In fact, during that time, I tell my kids I had such an intimate conversation with God that I would hope that for all of you guys, not in that situation, but that feel that comfort with God. That's a great question. Thank you. Anybody else? No tourniquet? Go ahead, brother.
Are you still doing woodwork?
Yes, yeah. So I am still a builder. I was a general contractor for 32 years. Using that same saw the first time, it was a little squirrely. Yes, I do. It's changed. I've learned to do drywall left-handed, swing a hammer left-handed. It's been a challenge, but you gotta attack it. Yes, in the back.
So I'll bite on it, Chad. How did you provide yourself with a tourniquet?
Never put one on. No tourniquet. I lost over 40% of my blood. Dr. Rogers, there is no medical reason I should be alive today. It never crossed my mind, which jumps into the podcast on how do you react in a traumatic situation. I believe it's tools in your shed, mentally, physically, spiritually. You know, luckily I was mentally sound enough to get through that. I was in good enough physical shape to get through that. And if it wasn't for my spiritual faith and strength, I wouldn't have got through it. That's the number one question you get asked all the time. Yes, ma'am.
So you said your daughter wasn't a Christian, so
Correct.
How did she transform her life?
Well, she's 19, so it's transforming all the time. No, so my son lives with me in Montana, and then my daughter still lives in Kansas City. She called me on the phone one day, and she's like, I just had a talk with God. And she's like, I see everything he's done in your life. And I want to have a relationship with him. And I walked her through that. I would give my hand up again in a heartbeat for that. That's the most important decision you can make. You know, it's really been a blessing. Any other questions? The other question I get asked? Yes.
Who's Mo Anderson, Chad?
Burn! It's a burn! I have 7 talks scheduled coming up, 7 different states. It's really been it's just exploded since Atlanta, and we're doing Canada. I got Baton Rouge, Vegas, New York, Denver, here, Toronto, but I have a chance to do a show with a talk with Mo Anderson and get a chance to meet her in Baton Rouge. And
His email, I'll just tell them.
Yeah.
His email was real cute. He sent me an email updating me on all the places that he's been asked to speak, and he's like, and some lady named Mo Anderson. Oh my gosh! So I
have a book, Bo, I have a book.
I just shipped him Mo's book, and it arrives at his office on Monday, because you need to know who Mo is. Before make sure you know Mo.
That on me.
Yeah.
I'm just super excited about everything this is bringing to my life. The other question I get asked all the time is about my beard. Nobody has. Yes, I dye my beard. You know why? My girlfriend looks like 30. When I walk around, they're like, "Oh, she's with Papa. It's Make-A-Wish Day. It's a Make-A-Wish Day with Papa." Yeah, brother.
So, Papa, what are you doing this weekend?
Oh, I guess I can say it here. I'm telling you, this woman in my life, I wouldn't be here without her. She left her entire family to come out. She was supposed to move out the weekend after my accident. I gave her a hard time. I said, "You came, you just never left." She's an amazing woman. And I'm going, her birthday's tomorrow. Mine's the 22nd. Every year we have a live band in Montana. You guys are welcome to come. It's a hilltop, Mary. It's a great time. Great time. I'm gonna propose to her. She has no idea. I don't know how, I've been tremendously blessed with my Montana family. I mean, I feel like George Bailey of It's a Wonderful Life. It's just crazy. I've been so blessed out there, and everybody knows but her. I don't know how we pulled it off, but yeah. So, yeah.
What's her phone number?
555.
I found out this is your dad. I laid hands on, prayed for him. I'm like, I'm gonna pray for you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did, you did.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
And you don't have to share as much as you want, obviously, but what was like the number one thing in that moment that stood out in your brain? Because you said you start thinking of like all these regrets and all these things you would do differently. Like what was like the number one thing?
My kids. I mean, number one thing for me is I did with my kids, I think I just quit, you know, and to say it's changed my life is an understatement. I mean, at that time, there's so many conversations I wish I could have with people. And trust me, I did. You know, you gotta make it right with your brother, make it right with your sister. And it's just completely transformed my life. And the biggest thing for me is just that you just don't ever quit. You gotta keep moving. And like I said, all of you have more strength in you than you think. You guys got this. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. Well, I super enjoyed being here, and I just can't thank you guys enough. It's just been outstanding, and appreciate your guys' time today.
Get the cat out of the bag. So again, another speaker that we're blessed to have, and the authenticity is mind blowing. The people, the leaders in this company, the people who we're blessed to serve with and each other is mind blowing. And just, we can't take that for granted. I love, what are you fighting for? What are you fighting for? Who are you fighting for? Are you really fighting? Right? This is something we take for granted right here. The opportunity to do this and impact people, one closing, one meeting at a time. So are you really fighting right now? I looked at it and I'm like, you know, I'm a little light on that right now. So thank you for that so much. So we're gonna have pizza. We have DNC training with